Hey, what's going on, GameLeapers? Today we're going to be going through the 10 best AD carries for the upcoming patch 12.8, which will be hitting the Rift in a couple of days' time. So to know who the best marksmen and other champions are going to be in the bot lane for 12.8, make sure you stick around for the whole video. And as always, if you want to master any of the champions in this countdown, and more importantly, the AD carry role, because you won't get to Challenger without learning the role and what it takes, make sure you check out the GameLeap website and join thousands of your fellow summoners and get signed up for exclusive access to our library of videos, courses, guides, high elo VOD analyses. Everything you would ever want is on the website and made by Challenger players and coaches, so check that out and let's get into the countdown. Now coming in at number 10, we have Tristana, who's getting buffed in 12.8, so your attack damage per level is increasing. And for a scaling champion like Trist, this makes her mid to late game even scarier. Now in the early game, as you don't have that range that you have in the mid to late game, you are certainly more vulnerable. But still, your one-shot potential makes you a very deadly AD carry, and in lower elos, it can be extremely effective. In particular, if you have a support next to you, like a Leona, like a Nautilus, that's very important, so watch out for that in Champ Select. But the rune page in 12.8 will stay exactly the same with Hail of Blades and then Treasure Hunter, because we want to accelerate our scaling. This is very useful, and we are an all-in AD carry. We can also fend for ourselves, which is a massive advantage that very few other AD carries have, so this puts you into the same echelon as a champion like Vayne, who still has the best AD carry win rate out of anyone. But I just want to point out here something important, and that's to take cleanse, because most often the enemy support, or even the enemy AD carry, they're going to take exhaust, because that is really the big cuck to you when you jump in with your rocket jump. So taking cleanse to get rid of the exhaust so you can deal the max amount of damage, this is crucial. So Tristana starts off the countdown for 12.8. Now filling the number 9 position is a champion who's been buffed multiple times in season 12, and this is Samira, who is ranked as an S+ AD carry on UGG, and I don't think she's that broken, but for sure she is one of the best carry champions in the bot lane. And just like Tristana, we want to be running cleanse because getting exhausted, we want to get rid of the damage reduction so we can get multiple resets off, just like Tristana, and dominate. Now as far as the rune page goes, this is in high elo, so we want to be running Conqueror. And as for the domination tree, no more Taste of Blood, we are running Treasure Hunter, because this rune is going to accelerate the game's pace, and if we do manage to get some early kills, the game's going to end so much quicker. But another similarity you have with Tristana is that you really want some CC from your support. So if you have an Alistair, Leona, Nautilus, a Thresh, something like this, it's crucial, because this will trigger your passives knockup and enable you to get more stacks off, because the enemy champions will be CC'd. So that is very important to remember, and also don't be scared to start with your Wild Rush, especially if you do have one of those supports, because if you can ambush the enemy bot lane at level 1, and you can get kills before the lane even starts. If not though, of course you can skill your Q first, but Samira comes in at number 9, but she is beaten to number 8 by Twitch, and we ain't talking TV. So for the green rodent in season 12, well, to be honest, I think he's really flown under the radar. This champion might be very killable. He doesn't have a dash. You need your support to peel you, but if you can get your support on your side, which might be tricky in solo queue, you could easily argue that Twitch is the best solo carry, AD carry on the entire Rift. Once you get going with lethal tempo, the extra range, and also by running Ignite, your kill pressure goes through the roof. Also, the domination tree is really useful as your secondary tree, because Taste of Blood gives you the sustain, because during the laning phase you are very vulnerable, so sustaining your HP via your runes is crucial, and then taking Ultimate Hunter, because without your ultimate, Twitch really isn't that much of a champion, and this is going to give you more roams, because you can always run out of base with your spray and pray, run to top lane, run to mid lane, ambush the enemy bot lane. This is going to allow you to do more of that, and taking Ignite, I love it for the kill pressure. Just be sure to take Kraken Slayer as your mythic, and you guys will be sweet. Now boasting the number 7 position, we're going to up the ante here and give you guys a very strong lane champion, a very strong lane and team fighting champion, and this is Miss Fortune, who is very hard to beat during the laning phase, because by running this rune page with Comet and maxing your E first, which might sound a little weird, but trust me, this is easily the best skill order because of the pressure it gives you during the early laning phase and also during team fights. Getting this off multiple times, whether you're going Eclipse or Leandra's Anguish, it's extremely valuable during those 4v4s, 5v5s, Rift Herald and Dragon fights. But please guys, if you play Miss Fortune, remember to take Swifty Boots, because this makes your innate movement speed even better. And because you don't have a dash in your kit or from your items, also taking Heal as your second summoner spell enhances your kite ability even more, because we're really relying on our movement speed to keep the enemy champions at bay. Cleanse might work for sure into scarier lanes or even exhaust into champions like Samira and Tristana, but Heal is going to allow you to maintain that space of the enemy champions a lot better. And if you are wondering, well, do I go Eclipse, do I go Leandra's Anguish? Eclipse, to be honest, is probably the most consistent mythic because of the armor penetration passive. This paired with your ultimate, you will get pentakills in every single game. But Leandra's Anguish is really good against squishier compositions and immobile compositions. This is going to keep them at arm's length, and the damage you do with multiple maker range during teamfights, very, very annoying. So Miss Fortune, number 7. Now beating Miss Fortune to number 6, one of the best best early game laners. So if you want to win games by 10 minutes because your mum just texted you to get the shopping in, Draven is the AD carry to pick. Now there are a few keystones you can go, but this page I'm recommending here is in Challenger Career, and this is Lethal Tempo. Because the extra range you get at max stats, think about it, it makes you safer. Because like Miss Fortune we just talked about, you don't have a dash, you don't have any sort of escape apart from Flash, so the range you get from Tempo is just essential. Now as far as your second summoner spell goes, with Flash you can take Exhaust, Heal, Cleanse, it just depends on the enemy bot lane and what you need to stay alive and just dominate. Just be sure to max your Q, then your W, and then your E, and also as far as your items go, make sure you get Essence Reaver, followed by Eclipse, Berserker's Greaves, and then you either go Lord Dominus Regards or Infinity Edge based on the enemy team's armor. So if they have a really beefy frontline with lots of armor, LDR is a must. But if they're all very squishy and they're not building armor, Infinity Edge, you will one-shot people. So keep that in mind in 12.8, but Draven is number 6. Now starting off the top 5 is a champion I mentioned in yesterday's builds video, and I'm kind of excited about this one because not many people are talking about it, and this is in Challenger and Career, these stats. So Fleet Footwork Ezreal, and you might be like, why on earth would I take Fleet on Ezreal? It procs off your Q, and obviously your auto attacks, and it's really useful for a mid to late game champion because it makes your laning phase survivable and even winnable. And on top of this, if that wasn't already good enough, Ezreal is getting buffed in 12.8, so your ultimate's cooldown in the late game is going down to 90 seconds. This is huge because your Q reduces your True Shot Barrage's cooldown, and you'll have so much ability haste by then anyway. You'll be throwing your ultimates out so much in the late game to steal your side lane's cannon minion, to try steal the enemy red buff, to try steal a Baron, so this will be very applicable. Just be sure for your mythic to go Trinity Force, then for your boost Lucidity Boots, and then Mana Mune. And you might be like, why would I go Trinity Force? With the extra HP in it, it's super nice for Ezreal, and it does build out of Sheen. So this is super nice, and don't be scared of getting a Frozen Heart after these 3 items, because Frozen Heart it's so cheap now, and also it gives you so many stats that you like. Ability haste mana and the passive against attack speed based champions, and most of the time the enemy AD carry is going to have attack speed, it just cucks them and makes you a lot better in the 1v1 and dueling when you don't have your teammates near you. So Ezreal is number 5. Now the next 2 champions on this countdown, I just want to do a bit of throat clearing before you guys take out the jizz. And yeah, these 2 champions aren't your typical AD carries, so I'm sorry about that, but that's just how the game is, guys. Blame the balance team. Run at them with your pitchforks, not me, because looking at the stats, in every single elo, Veigar as an AP carry bot lane has an unreal win rate, and we can make sense of this, because Veigar with his event Horizon, which you max second, when this cooldown gets down to 12 seconds, and it will be even lower because your ability haste, you can land this onto potentially 2 targets and not just 1 if you're playing in the mid lane, for example. So it makes you very deadly in the bot lane, and remember, because your Q is giving you more stacks now, your scaling is accelerated, so not only do you bring the utility with Everfrost with your event Horizon, but you still have easily enough damage to one-shot the enemy champions. So Veigar is the 4th best AD carry, AP carry bot laner for 12.8, but he's been to number 3 by another one of these champions who you don't see well most of the time, and this is Yasuo. And this is just how it is, guys, and these stats you see right here are in Challenger. So if Yasuo as an AD carry works like this against the best AD carry players in the world, who are probably picking traditional AD carries into him, then why won't this work in lower elo? Because people typically in lower elos don't have these ideas of spacing, kiting, positioning as much as those higher elo players. But if you are going to play Yasuo, make sure to take Revitalize and Second Wind, because we want to sustain ourselves through the early game. This is when we're most vulnerable, and because of the buffs in 12.7 to your base HP and to your ultimate's cooldown, it gives you a much better early game, so you can get to the mid to late game when you become incredibly powerful. And let's not forget that Yasuo's wind wall is a huge cuck to AD carries. So if you think of something like a Twitch ultimate or a close range AD carry who Yasuo might be able to access by Eing to the minions and then Eing to that enemy champion, there are just so many situations where this champion is too useful. But again, like Samira, like Tristana, try to pick Yasuo when you have a support who does have a knockup or CC. So Yasuo is number 3. But the runner-up to the best AD carry in 12.8, thankfully this is a normal AD carry, and this is Lucian. And because of the buffs to his scaling and his vigilance passive, and also his attack damage per level, Lucian has been ripping it up in the bot lane, and you can see these win rates in Master and above. Insane. A 56%er with this rune page. Suppress the attack, very important for your short burst, works really well with your passive. And even though Gale Force might have been nerfed, so the cooldown back to 110 seconds, for Lucian you do have an innate dash. So unlike other AD carries like Jinx, Caitlyn, Jhin, those champions who do go Gale Force, you are affected a lot less. But in terms of bot lane synergy, guys, it's important to understand now that Lucian works a lot better with champions who can shield and heal him, so we're talking enchantresses. So champions like Nami, Janna, Sona, Soraka, Seraphine, Senna. But of course you can still play him with the Braum. Braum and Lucian, their 2 passives working together, still very deadly, but just keep this in mind in your champ selects. So if Lucian is only number 2 with those stats, who on earth can be number 1? Well, for season 12, guys, because of how Lethal Tempo works, Vayne has been the standout AD carry and is going going to continue to be. Because at the start of the season, it was Caitlyn, Jinx, Vayne. Then it became Jinx and Vayne. And now it's just going to be Vayne because Jinx is getting nerfed in 12.8. So she's going to stand at the top. The extra range you get at max stacks with tempo, because you will be building attack speed, should be easy to get there, especially with your mobility and your own self-peel. So once you get that extra range, what weaknesses do you have? This makes you the complete AD carry. Just be sure to take Treasure Hunter in your domination tree and Taste of Blood, because just like Twitch, we want the sustain from Taste of Blood. Our early laning phase is not going to be great, so that comes in really handy. But Treasure Hunter, if we can get going, the snowball potential is unreal, and you get so much gold from this single rune. So copy this page, guys, copy the items down below, and play Vayne in 12.8, because statistically, she's going to give you the best chance of winning and gaining elo. So those are the 10 best AD carries, guys, for 12.8. Haven't done one of the AD carry lists in a while, so if you want these to continue for each patch, make sure you leave a like down below. And until tomorrow's daily season 12 upload, this has been Coach. Peace.